Welcome to MidEast In-Depth, part of Levant TV's Press Reviews. Dan Perry, who currently leads Associated Press, talks about the savage fighting between Israel and Hamas, which is escalating in Gaza. His analysis is featured in the Appeal Democrat news site. The writer says ceasefire efforts take on elements of farce and bravado rules the public discourse, but even through the fog of war, a few endgame scenarios can be glimpsed. For the moment, the writer considers different scenarios, with the first being the Palestinian Authority taking over the border with Egypt, where a small extension of the rights of fishermen to venture out to sea. But Israel will not allow true sea access or an airport as long as Hamas controls the Strip. The concern is that even bigger rockets and weapons would stream in, and Israel also won't soon open its borders to Gazans, remembering too well the suicide bombings of a decade ago. The second scenario would be the Palestinian Authority taking over Gaza. Last week, both the German and French foreign ministers said re-involving the Palestinian Authority in the administration of Gaza was the only way to guarantee a long-term ceasefire. But given Hamas' relative unpopularity in the region at the moment and its money crunch, it's not really conceivable. The writer concludes that a challenge for Israel, therefore, will be that it will have to go along with such game-changing ambitions to a degree. But what if militants from an Abbas-run Gaza still find a way to fire rockets? It may actually rue the way Hamas melted away, removing with it Israel's near impunity, to hit back as hard as the past months has seen. An article in the independent media review analysis IMRA reports that the European Union wants ceasefire with Hamas disarmament, while President Obama wants immediate ceasefire without Hamas disarmament. The Zionists Organisation of America, ZOA, has pointed to the astonishing fact that while the EU has called for an Israeli-Hamas ceasefire that encompassed Hamas disarmament, President Barack Obama disagrees. Instead, he seeks an immediate ceasefire in which Hamas is not disarmed. Also, President Mahmoud Abbas' Palestinian Authority, which had kept a low profile on the issue, has now come out with a hardened pro-Hamas position that echoes President Obama's position on disarming Hamas only within the framework of a peace settlement. The EU strongly condemns calls on the civilian population of Gaza to provide themselves as human shields. And in contrast, President Obama called for an immediate, unconditional humanitarian ceasefire that ends hostilities now. Yesterday, Obama's National Security Advisor Susan Rice reconfirmed this in front of several hundred Jewish leaders from around the country at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., calling for an immediate, unconditional humanitarian ceasefire. In the eyes of the Zionists Organisation of America, this means that President Obama does not support Israel's right to defend itself, but demands instead that Israel stop defending itself immediately. And the article suggests that, according to the organization, President Obama's stance has also served to radicalize the Palestinian Authority's position, which is now in favor of ceasefire that strengthens Hamas, and they argue this is not having Israel's back. As President Obama likes to claim, it is having Hamas's back. And for more updates, visit us on Levant.tv. You could also subscribe to MidEast In-Depth on iTunes. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.